In this video, I wanted to go over a bunch of camera tricks that you can do, or to be more honest, settings that you can find. So, if you open up the camera in itself application, there is not much to it. You have things like under video, you can change the resolution, the frame rates, and a couple additional things. But just in general, there is not much happening in here in terms of settings. So to change any of them and see even what you have in terms of settings, we will navigate into the settings, and here you will find camera. And that's where we have all the settings. Now, I'm going to basically go over all of them, starting from the very top. So at the very first spot, we have recording video, and here you can choose permanent kind of frame rate and resolutions for the videos that you'll be recording, which is pretty nice. Every time you want to open up the camera and record, this is what it's going to set to. Now, another options in here, once you choose your resolution, will be things like the show PLA formats, and then we have enhanced stability, HDR video, auto FPS, and a lock white balance. Now, going over a couple of those really quickly. White balance will be basically how yellowish or bluish your video looks like. The TTP camera does that automatically, so I probably wouldn't recommend changing that to lock. Next, we have the auto FPS. Now, we have option between 30 and 60, so not really much of an option if you want to lock it to, for instance, just 60. And then we have HDR video, just records in 10-bit. And then stability, self-explanatory, and show PLA format, basically just an old kind of format for videos, so not even going to touch upon that. Moving on, we have record slow motion, same thing as just a normal one, but it just limits to the slow motion frame rates, and that's about it. Yep. Continuing on. Now we have record sound. This is just for video recording sound purposes. We have spatial audio, stereo, mono, and that's about everything that's important. Now, we also have a couple additional options interesting in here, which is things like wind and noise reduction. So it just tries to nivellate the kind of like this weird rustly noise when you're, for instance, walking outside and recording and it's blowing straight into the microphone. So that is a pretty handy option, and I wouldn't really recommend turning that off. And we also have the allow audio playback, so when recording, you can basically playback audio. Now, going back to the settings, we have things like preserve settings. Now, this is a very amazing option that you can utilize in here, and it just allows you to lock all the changes that you have made manually. Now, some of the more interesting options that you can find in here, we have things like camera mode, which allows you to have it locked, so every time you open up your camera, it will reopen the last used mode. So if you were using video recording, that's what it's going to open instead of the traditional photos option. Things like control menu, what else? Depth control, exposure adjustments, night mode, live photos. So it basically tries to, you can toggle on, and you can basically remember every other change that you have made throughout the camera application to just tweak whatever you were taking photo or recording before, which is a pretty nice option. I personally find it very useful, so you don't need to go back and readjust everything once again if you just close the application. Now, going back and moving on to the next option, we have the use volume up for burst. So what this option allows you to do is just hold one of the volume buttons to take multiple shots, and it will just spam take them as long as you're holding the volume button, which, other than that, it serves no other purpose. Next, scan QR codes. These options are turned on by default, so I didn't turn them on, but it allows just to scan QR codes, like, for instance, connecting quickly to Wi-Fi networks or other purposes. Whatever QR code you have to scan, that's basically what we'll do. And you can use camera for that. Show detect text. So when you have text on the image, you can detect it and copy it from there to whatever you want. Also a pretty handy option, and also enabled by default, which is very good. And next, we have things that allow you to just kind of adjust your photo position of the camera a little bit easier with more understanding what's happening. So those options would be grid, level, and mirror front camera. Now, I will enable 2 of the 3 at the moment, and I'm going to enable the third one in the second portion, basically. So with those enabled, we can now jump back to our camera, and you can see we have the grid lines right over here, which allows us to position the camera a little bit more precisely. And then this crosshair is the level. If I were to take it up, as you can see, it starts to move, so you know where the actual level is. Now, to showcase the other portion, which is the mirror, I'm gonna snap a photo right here. I'm gonna jump back here, cycle this on, and again swipe back and capture another photo. And now we have two photos, and you can see that they are from two different sides. So that's basically what the mirror does. Now, jumping back in here, there's a couple more options. So the last option here will be the photographic style. Prioritize fast shooting to allow you to capture quick photos, or quickly and basically quick succession. And then a lens correction, which corrects a lens distortion on the front camera. Now, going into the photographic style, this allows you to just tune the look of your photos by just tuning the tone and warmth of the photos. And these will be permanently applied to all the photos. And you can see the changes with tone and warmth 0, with a standard one, rich contrast, just -15 tone, vibrant +15 tone, warm will be +50 in warmth, and then cool -50 in warmth. And when you find one that you want to use, just select use warm, for instance, and you're good to go. So that's everything that there is to show with the camera. So if you found this very helpful, it would mean a lot to me if you could hit like, subscribe, and thank you for watching.